Salmo to be held in council chambers at 423 Davies Avenue in Salmo, BC on Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Call to order and adoption of the agenda. That the agenda of regular meeting number 0226 of Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 be adopted from Council Procedure Bylaw number 663, 2014, Schedule B to include a new business section and a public question period.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
In favor.
Favor.
No delegations. New business. So RDCK Service Committee meeting discussion, Village of Salmo nonprofit organization taxation support and funding release policy F011. Anyone have any questions?
So I'm just going to speak on it of what happened at the RDCK meeting last week and why this is at the table again. So we've passed this policy in order to be responsible to our taxpayers because we're not getting information about organizations that we give taxation to through the RDCK service. And the 5 is the Salmo and Weimer Museum, the library, the Chamber of Commerce through Economic Development, and the Youth Center. So at our meeting, the RDCK had said that we really can't do this. And I beg to differ. This is about here. They're the ones that are producing this money. And so on February the 9th, we are having, meaning Director Cunningham and myself and the RDCK staff are inviting the groups that are getting the money other than the library, because they've already did a delegation to us, and to be able to present to the 2 directors, and this will be whoever. We're something that I've been trying to get the RDCK to do is have a policy like this, and it's been sitting on the books for 6 years and then so we did it, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, we could do this. So we're going to have the meeting on February 9th at, I believe it's 7 p.m. right there in the chamber room. And any of council can come to it, but the public is also invited to it. And if nobody in the group decides not to come and do a presentation or something like that, then there's still that opportunity for us to say no. We just need documentation of what they're doing, right? So that's the whole crutch of it, and it will take away from us having to hold extra meetings if they're going to do it just like we're going to do it, and have the documentation, because as soon as they do a presentation, then there's the documentation, and that's all we're looking for to be able to go forward with it. So I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed because February the 9th is the day before our February the 10th meeting, and this is our last meeting before that. So if there's any questions or anything that you guys need before that, you can send me an email, or you can come to the meeting that day on the 9th and be a part of it.
Anyone else have any questions, comments, anything? That. Nope. All right, so we'll pass the motion.
I'll move.
I'll second. All in favor?
In favor.
So next is the adoption of the minutes. Staff that the minutes of the regular council meeting number 0126 of Tuesday, January 13, 2026 be adopted as presented.
Second.
Any questions, comments, anything wrong?
For me,
All in favor?
in favor.
So referrals from delegations. Oh, this is Salmo Valley Public Library 2026 budget. The recommendation is that council approve the 2026 funding for the Salmo Valley Public Library. Questions? Comments? Okay. And second. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Operational reports. The Public Works Department is our first on the list. Council received for information the written report is presented by Public Works Foreman Fred Patton for the period of November 21st, 2025 to January 20th, 2026.
I may through the chair. So the one question I have, and I know I've asked this in years past, is snow removal on the sidewalk on the bridge going towards the elementary school? Is there a reason Civic Works doesn't remove the snow off the bridge section? I know the trackless doesn't fit, but we do have shovels, and it's seems to me kind of crazy that we don't remove snow on the bridge section. People have kids, people have baby strollers, all that kind of stuff. I just think maybe we should be attending to that. Absolutely. Thanks.
Anyone else?
There's a slide place on the side of it.
So, she's trying to start her own meeting is the issue. I don't know where she's logging in from because it's not the other meeting agenda or the link from the website. Because it's trying, I'm emailing Angela. It's the Legion is trying to jump on, but they're trying to basically start their own meeting. So just the link that she is using is not the right one. So I'm emailing her, trying to lead her to the website. So if you guys see
CAO,
yes.
it says that the person doesn't have a Teams account, so they can't verify their identity, and it says Terry. So they might not have downloaded the app and they're trying to get in, and you have to download the app. Could be.
Yeah, this is another person, Mayor Lockwood. This is Angela from the Legion that's trying to get up.
Oh,
And she,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll just take a second while we try to continue. Anyone else have any comments, questions? I just had a question about the F-150.
Mhm.
We decommissioned it now. What's the plan?
So this is something I will probably bring to council in the next meeting or two. Just through our asset management, we're going to start the asset is disposals. So we're going to be probably hosting some sort of sale to look at the other equipment. So staff is going through the yard over the course of the summer to look at everything, but basically, yeah, we're going to sell it. So right now it's just decommissioned. It's parking. We need to.
You froze.
Perfect. So yeah, what will happen is that we will Yeah, we'll work towards having a sale, but we're gonna, once the asset management, information is compiled, we'll know what we have to sell, so, that's kind of the plan, but right now, we're still insuring it for fire and theft.
Okay, good. Anything else?
I will move.
I'll second.
In favor.
That council received for information for the January 1st, 2026, provided by Fire Chief David Hearn for the period of November to December 2025. Questions, comments? Nothing? All in favor?
In favor.
Okay.
It was so easy. All right. That council received for information the written report on bylaw enforcement for the period of November 1st to December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Pardon?
I moved it.
Okay.
I beat you to it, I think.
Oh, sorry. Second it.
I'm trying to remember all the initials. So CAO report, general updates.
Yeah, okay, I guess, the one, I guess we'll start with some pretty good news. The village received, 56,300 from CBT for the small community wildfire readiness program. It's basically for, any tools or, training that is for wildfire preparedness, so, we're still waiting to receive the contribution agreement to know exactly what we were approved for, because we asked for approximately $75,000. Inclusive of everything we asked, but we're just waiting for that to see what it is. Otherwise, I will be able to report that to council, what we actually, got, but a lot of it is tools. We were asking for a water trailer, things like that, so.
So how it works is we give them a list of what they want, and then they approve what they decide on the list, is that?
Sort of, basically what happens is we go through the program guide as far as what is eligible, and we go, have a couple conversations with them back and forth as far as what's eligible or not. But ultimately what will happen is that even through those conversations, we'll put in a final report, and then through their vetting process, they'll remove a couple items that may or may not fit, because they are also looking at it from an application, I guess a buy-in standpoint for the whole region, so then eventually they'll have to, look at a couple things that they may have to cut off of everybody's, applications, so. Yeah, so that's, great news there, for our, fire department and for our public works, so. Moving on to, we're finishing our, all the annual inspections for the equipment and machines. We're gonna be compiling the data just for asset management. Staff's working on the, inventory right now, for the shop and the fire hall. The municipal buildings, we've sent, a bunch of the information we have for the land files and everything to our contractors. They'll be here sometime in March, to inspect all of the buildings. They're gonna start with the youth center, and then, work from there. And then from that point, we'll have an idea of, where village buildings stand from the asset management side of it. So, the other side of it, we've completed, with our well surfacing that we completed here. We've completed all the recommendations from the source water protection plan from a couple years ago. So that's kind of been done with. We sent out reminders for dog tags and business licenses. We're working through the Indigenous engagement project for the emergency management side of things. We met last week with the consultant and the RD. So that's starting to finally launch. we're working through, the plan survey. I'm still gonna be bringing that, forward to you guys. I've seen the next, item here. Yeah, we'll, outside of that, we're gonna be continuing through the floodplain review, project. We have another meeting, signed up. They're actually bringing, a public hearing to the RD board on February 10th. And they're encouraging us to, advertise for our residents and for council to, attend those. That just email we just got today. So, we'll be looking at, advertising, that for, some more public, engagement. Outside of that, we've officially relinquished, this is kind of a long time coming, this note, but, our Heritage Hub properties and all that, we're officially, kind of closed off any kind of formal relationship at this point, but, that was kind of, finalized when the mayor and I met with, the gentleman's, the representative's name was Mike. And so they're looking at their next steps for those 4 properties, but, we don't know where that's at yet. The SVYCC is, I believe they've just finished fixing the roof. There was a quadrant of the roof that had, a major, basically the pipe had rotted out for, the drain pipe from the roof. So there was basically an entire quadrant of the roof that needed to be pulled out and replaced. So, I just reached out to Laura just to see where that's at, but haven't heard yet. The harmonics upgrade are all done, finally, with, that's been the same thing a couple of years coming. It has, decreased our, operational time spent, at the plant, because, what would happen before is just with the harmonics, it would kick out some of the, equipment in there. So we were always sending out the electricians or the boys to go to inspect it and see what's going on. So now that our electrician has gone through and fixed everything will be running a lot smoother and hopefully cheaper. It's a little too early to see where, if there's gonna be any financial savings from the electricity costs on the plant, but that's what we're looking towards. I met with, WSA and Redwood Engineering for the guardrails, for the bridge. That's getting to go. They're sending us contracts this week, to finalize, just to oversee all of that. Redwood is gonna be handling the, signing off on the construction documents and the, engineering side of it, where WSA is going to be handling the quoting and the tendering and more the administration contract side of it. That's how they were, working together with the bridge deck side of things. So they both suggested that we continue on that for the guardrails. So, otherwise, if we were to pick another engineering firm outside of Redwood, we basically have to get the drawings redrawn. So, nobody's really, wanting that. I think the drawings are sufficient. It's just more about getting the quotes out there. So, that's where that's at. And then, I spoke with WSA, regarding our dike work. Basically speaking with them this year, all we're going to be able to accomplish is the engineering and the work plan. Any of the physical construction, we won't have time by August. Frankly, it's not so much our side of it. We can send it to the province, but for them to have it open for our fish window, it's going to be 3 or 4 months of permit processing. So, we're probably going to miss it. And frankly, because we have to, essentially hire WSA for, both projects, not only the dike inspection, but the work plan itself. They're going to kind of combine it. So that in and of itself will take a little longer than normal. But that's where we're going to be progressing with that. So, that's where we're going. So, that's all I have. Oh. So yeah, we're working with our CFO for the utility bylaws right now. We're just finalizing all of that. That should be ready to go for next meeting. So.
To the chair, how big is it, like, what is the scope of the project that we're planning on?
So ultimately, last year when WSA was there was some slumping with some of the underneath. So I guess to explain how it was constructed, the underlying layer is basically Lego blocks, and then they put the rocks on top of it. Well, what's happening is the Lego blocks are starting to slump. So basically we have to pull everything off of it and re-engineer all of it. So it's going to be the part that's behind the houses that's there currently. It's not going to be any expanded. It's just repairing what's already there.
Mayor Logan?
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, about the inspections, how did we budget per building? Do we have an estimate of how much we're going to, for the asset management, how much we're going to spend on each building?
No, this was something that we approved as an entire project, we had brought that for approval, so they don't break, I can pull up their quote to see if they have it broken up by building costs, but they lumped in the entire project as an entire. But I can absolutely see, I just
No.
can't recall, there was
I don't-
maybe a breakdown, but I can't.
I don't need it. I don't need it per building. I just thought I didn't realize they came in on a quote on all of it. So do we know how much that quote was for the entire, all the buildings?
Yeah, we had approved that back in the fall. I don't remember the number offhand.
Okay.
I will send that to council. I don't want to ballpark it.
Supplementary? The only, and this is just for council to know, is the reason I'm asking this question is that the RDCK put $5,000 into doing the asset management just for the swimming pool, nothing else. So I questioned, because we've already done so much work there that we already know how much. I questioned that amount, and they had made up a matrix. So I'm just trying to make sure that we're not getting ripped off that way if we're able to do it this way. So that's the reason I was asking. Thank you.
Anything else? Alrighty, so that council accepts the CAO report for information.
I'll move.
1 second.
So next is Salmo Parks Master Plan.
Right, through the chair, you need to call the vote.
Oh, right. All in favor?
In favor.
Thank you.
In favor.
Sorry, I can't remember your initial.
Sorry, whatever.
So the master plan.
Okay, so yeah, last meeting, we had gone through and we kind of pivoted the scope from KP Park Master Plan to more encompassing plan that would involve all village parks. The part of the challenge with drafting the survey is when we're opening it up for multiple parks now, it changes the scope as far as what we're looking at for the project itself. So, you know, when we're looking at one single park, it's more about, you know, the events that we have on KP Park, any kind of improvements that way. Well, we're not having those same conversations for the Lions and for 9th Street. So then now the scope of the survey is now kind of up for, I guess, discussion as far as what answers council is trying to get from this survey for this. And now if it's just a matter of how the parks are being used and how our community is using our spaces, if there is opportunities for improvements, if it's more about you know, event space, and if we're, you know, expanding, if there's specific improvements for each individual park that we would want to have. So of course, for an example, would be, you know, expanding the playground. Well, obviously we don't have a playground at 9th Street, so we wouldn't be asking about any playground questions. So it's really just more to, I guess, get council's confirmation as far as where we're looking, you know, at the survey for responses, like what our goal is of this, because looking at other municipalities is these parks plans rival the same size and scope as OCP surveys. And I don't know if that, again, I'm not against having a survey that size. I don't know if that's what council's after for this, as far as the information that we're getting from it. Is if we already have a good general idea of how our residents and our tourists and everybody are using our parks, well, then we probably don't have to include those sentences or those questions on the survey. And the reason why I'm talking about this specifically is that we're gonna have a few opportunities for public engagement this year. And OCP being the first one, thankfully, we've gotten 130 or so surveys from that. But I'm concerned about just resident burnout, that, you know, we're not going to, with a, you know, at first glance with this, if we're looking at the park, it's, the survey is gonna be quite extensive, and I just wanna make sure that council and the community is, you know, wanting this level of engagement, because if it's something that they're gonna ignore surveys and this is better for us to do through public hearings or another avenue, I'd be much happier gaining, you know, the feedback that we would need. It's just more kind of now hearing to what council is looking for. And if this is something like our master plan is strictly, okay, we have a certain amount of grant money, like what are we spending it on, for so to speak, or if this is more, how does the community want our parks spaces to be used that we're not doing it currently? It's just when you unfold all of those questions for each park, it is really hard to make that survey small. And so this is just, the mayor and I we went through the survey last week, and it just kind of brought that to my attention, is that this scope is, you know, kind of ballooned quite quickly. And in order to be fair to everybody, residents and the council, it's probably better that I get some little bit of a better idea of what data you guys are looking for from these plans, so then I can kind of borrow off of the different parks plans and surveys that are out there and tailor it to what we need, because ultimately every one that I'm looking at, it's 50, 60 questions, and I'm okay with that, but I don't know if you guys are. And so that's really what I'm doing. And so the idea would be is that we would just bring it back to the next meet, the February 24th meeting, just to kind of bounce some ideas back and forth on what we're doing, in the idea of not rushing this and making sure that, I guess the information that we are gathering is what we want. So.
I totally appreciate not wanting to rush things and doing things once right, rather than multiple times and not as thoroughly. However, I do think that we have a few things at KB Park that are gaining some urgency. Our concession building is really going downhill in a hurry and adds a lot of value to our park and not all of that. So I guess I'm just a little bit hesitant to kick the can too much and lose our momentum on a project that has been needing to get taken care of for some time.
Through the chair, I spoke last meeting about like a phased idea, and I think this would be a great opportunity for it. I think public engagement for all 5 parks or 9 parks, however many it is a good idea, because then the survey won't be 60 or 70 questions long. But I don't just want to leave the parks that we don't utilize the most on the wayside and just forget about them. Like, I feel they need to be a part of the Parks Master Plan, in case in years to come we want upgrades or we want playground equipment or something. Like, I understand 3 of our parks are used 80% of the time, probably 90, and we should focus on those. So I would be okay with the survey just utilizing Lions, KP, and Old Grove Springboard. But I don't want to forget about 9th Street as well. I think they need to be in the master plan eventually. But I don't have a problem just focusing on the 3 for now. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, if I may, through the chair, just to add to what Jonathan's saying, is we could even just start with like a phase 1 survey that focuses on our primary parts that we want to do things with, and then figure out, I mean, it probably won't be an extensive phasing process, even though we only have our primary parks and then our kind of more secondary parks. Maybe have to, in the second phase, just a smaller survey, just to see, hey, what does the community think? What do they want us to do with these spaces?
Yeah.
Thank you. Through the chair. I'm wondering about, is there any opportunity to make this survey where you have, as when we worked on it, grouped some questions that ended up being for every single park and group them at the beginning. But then if say Councillor Lynn's only wanted to answer about Lions Park and Councillor McKellar only wanted to answer about 9th Street Park, that they can jump to whatever park, or they can do 3 parks, or they could do for all of them. Is there any opportunity to be able to do that on an online survey? So we still have the hearing from everybody that wants to speak, because it really doesn't matter if we leave out a park, they may not want to speak about it at all anyways, ever. And they only wanted to speak about 9th Street or whichever. I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity to be able to make that online survey that you can do the first questions and then you can jump to whatever park you want to speak about.
Yes. That's very easy to do. I actually think that it's actually automatically capable, but it lets you skip questions. But if that's something that we can build, that's something that you can build in, because I know in our other surveys, we have, when we're pulling the data, there is how many questions were answered and how many were skipped. So like, for example, our OCP survey, we have a lot of questions where say 80 people answered, but 30 people skipped. So there is that opportunity already. It's just now, like, I guess to your point is that if we have all of those questions for each part, that will allow everybody to skip over for sure if they don't want to answer. It's just, should those questions exist for each part to begin with, because that's where now the size can balloon out. But absolutely is that it can be tailored so our residents can skip over questions that they don't want or don't want to answer.
Supplementary, Chair? Thank you. I would like to keep all the parks in and do it so we have it with the OCP. It gets rid of that information. It pulls that information out of the public for our OCP. That is a vision, and it gives a clear vision. It doesn't mean that everything that comes forward is going to happen in the next 1 year to 5 years, but at least there's a vision from the village.
Just to clarify, Mayor, what I hear you asking, I think you're asking is to have like 10 or 20, whatever number we decide on, questions about all of the parks, and then like an A, B, C, and D with KP, Lions, 9th Street, Springboard, that they can click on and answer those about that park in particular?
Yes, I believe that there was possibly up to 10 that were answering the same type of a question, and you could do it in a graph. So you could have how many times do you use this park, and you could have all the parks headings and then click underneath each one. Or, I'm just using an example. So there's questions that the CAO had put for each park, and I was saying do a graph. So all those questions are bang, 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 bang. So they're all answered on the first 10 questions. And then when you want to get more specific, then you click on KP Park, and then there's maybe 10 more questions just specific to KP Park. Because some parks like 9th Street are not going to have as many questions as KP Park.
Yes, I actually have to say I like that idea. Rather than scrapping it or waiting, I'd rather do that.
Okay.
So we have to make a motion for that.
So I guess, what I would, I guess be after is that, like, I guess if I am, I guess, following with the templates that are out there from other municipalities, and I guess obviously just tailoring the questions, but if the idea is that we would have, to the mayor's point, questions that are generic, we have them in a chart so you can answer quickly in the chart per park. But really, we're wanting to deal with all of the parks all at once. It'll be a significantly sized survey. It's just now, if the residents want to skip through it, we will skip through it. So then, okay, so then now scope isn't necessarily something we're too scared about, I guess, or too worried about. Is if there's a lot of questions, that's fine, as long as they're really addressing the use, any improvements, and I guess, yeah, just what appetite there is for any kind of cost improvements, if there are, like if there's any kind of appetite for tax increases or user fee increases for some of these improvements. We can absolutely kind of drill down on that. So, okay, no, that's great. I just wanted to make sure because a lot of the other plans are, again, were quite large in scope and because a lot of the even smaller communities, the plans were, 50, 60, 70 pages. I wasn't too sure if that was what our scope was because we kind of pivoted quite quick in the meeting and I didn't really have a chance to maybe grasp that from you guys. So appreciate that. So
So does someone want to draft a motion saying that?
so I guess if it's just okay that we just, I can bring the survey back for the 24th.
Yeah, it's this, first
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah, it's just to kind of give me some time to.
You're gonna bring the chair, you're gonna bring this survey, I got drafted this survey to that point.
Yes, it's fine.
So would that be the alternative, number one under alternatives, more like than
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I would say, probably, thank you.
so
Yeah, so that the council will address that then. And then bring it to the 24th, if that's
yes.
a time. Absolutely.
Everyone happy with that?
I'll move.
Excuse me.
And all in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
So the OCP public hearing. Speak on that.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, just because we're still getting, like actually a few a day still, some surveys coming in. It's kind of somewhat delayed, my original timelines that I was, bringing forward to council for this. Not bad, not that it's pushing it too extensive, but, ultimately, the idea is that we would be booking, a meeting, for the public to discuss this. We were talking in January originally, and now we're kind of moving it to February. But this is just more in timeline, with what council feels. The next meeting, on the 10th, we're gonna go through the OCP quite extensively. We'll have all the maps and everything created. And then it's just dependent on that conversation as far as when council would want to book the hearing following that, because we'll have the OCP survey and all the data compiled there, and then the public hearing will kind of be the last opportunity for any, I guess, feedback from the public. On the assumption we're doing one. If we're doing multiple meetings, then that's fine. But the idea would be is just to really schedule a day of when council feel it would be appropriate. So what I would maybe suggest is, sometime in between the first and the second meetings, but that said, if it's easier and makes more sense to have the two meetings in February, book it between the first or the second meeting in February and the first meeting in March, that's fine as well. I didn't want to, kind of, tie council to a date on this, because it was really more how everybody felt the conversation was going with the OCP for starters. And if you feel that it would take probably one or maybe two meetings to get to the point where you're comfortable bringing it to the public. So for me, I feel one should be sufficient, but again, this is up to council for sure. So.
It was a little bit hard for us to speak to without seeing like the feedback from the surveys, I think.
Okay, so, what I can do then is I can bring back the survey results for the 10th. And then, at that point, we can book the meeting, if that's what everybody's comfortable with instead. And then that'll give us opportunity to go through some of the results and see if there's any changes to make, to a draft before we bring it to the public. That's a great idea. It's okay.
So you'll bring it, the results to us on the 10th,
Yeah.
right? Gotcha.
I'll move.
One second.
All in favor?
In favor.
So we are on to our strategic plan. For information. Any questions on this?
I'm still here, but in order for me to look at the agenda, I have to make you guys black. So I'm just gonna, if I speak, then you'll know that I have a question. Thanks.
Anyone?
Just that I like the one.
Yes.
I was gonna say that too. It's great. We can read it all. It's clear.
And I do, sorry, excuse me, through the chair, I do want to point out that the list is getting significantly smaller. So congratulations, CAO.
We're enjoying that.
Yes.
Well, some of it, if I want to be brutally honest, some of the things that there's not much progression on, they've been removed because it's just much ado about nothing. So there's been a couple things that have been removed on that, so it's not all progress and, thank you, okay.
In favor.
And to reports.
Oh, did you guys go deaf for a reason?
Pardon?
No, we're still,
Oh, sorry,
Here,
all of
you
a
can-
sudden you guys went really quiet.
So Angela, if you could mute, because that's why it keeps going dead on my side. If there's movement on at yours, I can't hear. If you can mute, that would be great. Thanks.
All right. Anything?
Nothing for me.
No. Mayor? Okay. That council received for information the list of accounts payable checks and electronic fund transfers from January 9th, 2026 to January 22nd, 2026, totaling $59,931.62.
Second.
All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
And that council received for information the treasurer's report for December 2025.
I'll second.
All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
In favor.
So now we're on to correspondence requiring a council decision. Does anyone want to pull either of these? Oh, this was, yes, yeah, we have a whole these, gotcha. So the first one is the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 217 regarding maple leaf motif on crosswalks and road. Questions? Comments?
I made through the chair. So I think this is a really, really cool idea. I guess my question would be, is what kind of federal funding is available? I definitely want to get behind this. I think it's something we should do with the Legion, but I'm just wondering, like, there's got to be some federal money since this is a.
So I've looked, because this is like through the Legion and not through the federal government, there isn't actually a federal program for this. Looking at this, like, yeah, I guess speaking with the Legion, I think that, the idea is that, they're seeking a donation for this, you know, for the paint, and like, they're willing to look at, you know, some of, maybe covering some of the costs, but, ultimately, right now, there's no financial, I guess, program in place for grant funding, to answer your question. So this would be something that we can approve, and we can apply for, you know, grants as, you know, maybe the time comes up. But as of right now, just in everything that I've looked, I can't see anything that is specific to this.
Mayor?
Thank you, through the chair. I was under the understanding that they received the money to be able to do this, and through a program of theirs, and maybe I'm misinterpreting something. But is it possible that we gave freedom to the floor for Ms. Richens as she's online, if she can turn her camera on? So if we had any actual questions, that would help.
Sorry, I thought my camera was on. All right. Actually,
Just a second, Angela, just a second. We have to have a seconder, and then we have to pass freedom of the floor.
Sorry.
Motion.
All in agreement? Good.
In favor.
Go ahead, Angela.
Okay, so we're actually not asking for any financial support. If you want to donate time from your civic workers to do the actual paint job or help our volunteers do it, that would be great. But we're actually not asking for any financial support. We're willing to pay for the paint. We're willing to do the job. We're looking at the time frame of doing the actual work sometime in May. So we will need some sort of road control that we imagine that we can't do in our own aspect. It would have to be involved with you guys for at least, you know, doing the actual block off half of the road while it dries kind of thing. But if you want to donate civic time to do it, that would be fantastic. And we would advertise that as part of the support of the 100th anniversary of the Legion nationally. But we're not asking for financial support.
Do we have any more?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I may, I see there's two different ones. There's one for a banner. Is that related to this as well? Or
Yeah. it's the next.
is that the next one? I had them opposite order.
Yeah, me too. I was confused. Go ahead.
So at the 4th Street intersection there is a crosswalk. There is currently a crosswalk here on the south side, I'm guessing. But there isn't currently a pedestrian crosswalk. The one right next to the Legion. Would that be creating a new soft sidewalk there then?
Ultimately, because, no, it would be strictly for decoration. This is the one, because there is no sidewalks on that one corner. We, like, from an infrastructure standpoint, you don't create crosswalks leading people to nowhere. So, typically, you would, again, how that space is being used by the public, you know, we have a lot of people cross there already, so I don't know if it would be too out of place for the record, but ultimately it's not an official crosswalk. Like, once that fades, it would have to revert back to.
Or would it be better to do this opposite?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, absolutely. This is, like, these two, were the requests from the Legion, but, yeah, there is the potential to do the crosswalk going across.
I believe it's this way because 4th Street is actually under Ministry of Transportation.
Yeah.
So they would have to go through them to get permission because it's a highway, not a village street. I have a question about so once it's painted, does it just wear off or it just wears out?
Yes, it
Leave
just
it
wears
till
out. That's one of the reasons why we're not choosing 4th Street, because of the amount of traffic. It would wear out too early. So we're hoping to maintain it from May till Remembrance Day. So, yeah, it might take 1 or 2 paintings, but we're hoping for only one.
Well, make this one, Mayor, about this question.
Sure, go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you. I do believe that there was talk that they would use the same kind of road paint that would be on our crosswalks, which would last like usually throughout a winter, right? So they shouldn't have to paint again. And there is less traffic. That the only, the major part of traffic is July 1st or Canada Days that will go over that. My question though is, can there be 4 maple leafs instead of 2? One, and how I was picturing, because is going with the flow of traffic. So you go over the stem to the top, and so when you're driving, you're actually driving over the stem and going to the top of the maple leaf, or is there only possible for 2?
As far as I know, that is an official design from National Command, and we're not allowed to modify it. They did have 2 other versions. One included a soldier and one included something else, and they've already vetoed those. I believe it was the poppy, probably the poppy, because you wouldn't want to drive over a poppy. And the other one has soldier involved, and they've removed those stencils. So this is our only option.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so council.
I'll move the
approved
motion.
I'm ready.
Sorry.
I'll second.
I thought you read it. Sorry.
That council approved the Legion's request to paint the crosswalk at Sayward Avenue and 4th Street, as well as the road section between the Legion and 213 4th Street with the commemorative design, and further that council approved the use of village staff time with costs to be taken from the community grant labor budget. Yes, we didn't discuss that.
I'll move that.
And all in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Right, so now we're on to the Memorial Royal Canadian Legion Branch 217 regarding Memorial Banner Program. Any comments, questions? I did have a question. Oh, go ahead, Mayor.
I just want to make sure that the Legion knows that Salmo crew does not put up our banners. That it's always Sutco that does it free of charge, and they do it for the community or the Salmo Chamber. Not that they wouldn't do it for you guys, but we don't do it. Like, we can't have our guys be in a loader or something like that. So that was my only comment. I love that this can happen. It would spruce up some of our dark ones for a while until we do something. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The one question I had, Angela, was, are there going to be different soldiers on every banner, or is it just going to be this district thing?
Yeah, so if I can explain, what we want to do is honor the soldiers that are already on the cenotaph, the fallen that have lost from World War I. So there's 13 of them. And I don't think we can fit 13 on 4th Street unless we do doubles on both sides. But really, my question was whether or not we even had the capability of doing it. The cost is significant. It's $250 a banner. So I'm looking at a $3,000 cost to do this one. So really, I was just looking for permission to proceed with the investigation on whether or not we could pull it off, because I'm going to have to find a corporate sponsor to help me cover the cost in order to make it, the way we should be doing it. And that would be Sutco, would be my first person I would go see, because they partner with us every year for the beer gardens. Right. We have a good relationship with them. A majority of their employees are members or use our functions, right? So between them and tech was where I was going to go next, but I wasn't sure we even had the technical capability of doing it? Like, do we have even the hardware, or would I be responsible for buying the hardware on top of all of the cost of the banner? So it was more of a, can we even do it request versus the sidewalk where I had more data and more solid ground to go on.
Mayor?
We do have banners up already. So, and those would come down and put, that's what I would anticipate is we would take down the Salmo banners that are up there right now, all the hardware's there. And replace them with, in partnership with the Legion. That's how I envisioned it, and I don't know how many banners we have, Angela. That would be something to be able to just drive around, walk around or something, but there's one that's out by the credit union. I don't know how many banners are on the highway, but it's an opportunity to just even go and look and see how many there are.
Angela, did you need us to decide on a size? You have 3 sizes here. Or you just go with
Yes.
what we have?
No, I would prefer you guys recommended the appropriate size to fit the hardware so that I'm not putting expense out for something I can't even hang.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, so what do we,
If I may through the chair.
of course,
Shameless plug, Angela, sorry. Reach out to Klesnikoff Lumber if you're looking for funding. They do huge things in the communities around this area. So I definitely would recommend talking to them as well as Tech.
Yeah, that's great. The whole point is to do a community thing, right? We're Salmo, we're a small Legion, but we still want to celebrate 100 years of service. And we want to try and get some momentum going into next year because next year's our 80th for the branch.
okay, so anything else? So it reads that council approved the Legion's request to hang 24 by 48 memorial banners on the light poles located on 4th Street.
Confirm that that's our current, that's the correct size that we have.
I think we can do whatever size fits.
Mayor.
Mayor?
Yeah, I, through the chair, suggest that we take out the size.
Yeah.
And just say the appropriate banner, so it doesn't strangle the motion.
And would we be able to have Civic Works check if we have any, like, extra holders somewhere? I don't know if we do or not.
I will reach out to the chamber too to see if what they have as well.
Through the chair, I don't believe that we have any extra holders, because I think that they all went up when they were bought. But there is, like out at the credit union, the banner had come down, or the, whatever you want to, I forget what those things are called, banners, had come down, but the mechanism was still up there. So that's why I'm saying is to drive around, and because you'll see 2 little bars, and just see how many we have out there. Oh, they were put up in 2016. So honestly, I do not believe that we need to waste staff time trying to figure out if they're anywhere, because they won't find them. That's all I was trying to.
Okay. Anything else? So the council approved the Legion's request to hang the appropriate size memorial banners on the light poles located on 4th Street.
I will move.
Second, Mayor?
Can I, one question?
Yeah.
Do we want to get rid of 4th Street if there's one on by the credit union that you're suggesting they use?
Yeah, if 4th Street is just where the banners are hanging.
Are you good with that change? Yep. Mayor, you're good with the change?
Yeah.
All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Favor.
Okay, so correspondence for information only. The council received for information the following correspondence from RDCK regarding RDCK Organics Disposal Regulation 2026. Initial notification number 04 or Heritage BC regarding BC Heritage Week, February 16th to the 22nd, 2026, number 05. Does anyone want to pull either of those? Okay.
So move.
All set.
All in favor?
In favor.
Favor.
Excellent. So now we're on to member reports and inquiries. Councillor Heatley.
I was planning on having a meeting with Fire Chief Hearn next week, but Mayor, we discussed yourself and the CAO and I should sit down and kind of get ground rules. So I think let's set up a meeting when you get back from your holiday, and then I will approach the fire hall. That is all.
And myself. I have a meeting coming up at the library. That's all I've got to. Councillor McKellar.
Yeah, so I'm setting up meetings with the high school and the museum. Just kind of waiting to hear back for times for them. I did have a conversation with one of the teachers from the elementary school, and they're going to be putting forward a request. I'm not sure how to go about this, but they want to put forward a request to council for some turkey crossing signs. And the kids are quite concerned about the turkeys. So I promised them that I would bring that forward to the table. So they're going to actually give me a written letter to bring to council. So I'm hoping to have that for the next meeting.
If I may to speak on the turkey signs, awesome idea. I think if council has appetite for turkey crossing signs, let's make it a competition and get the elementary school to design them.
Yeah, I like that.
And then we can pick turkey crossing signs.
I like that.
So we move on to Councillor Neal.
The youth centers, SBYCC, I should say. Their meetings are on Mondays now, so I will try to attend the next one.
And then Mayor Love. You're in Mexico. We don't want to hear it.
I think he's frozen.
I have nothing to report, and I don't even know if my report made it into this agenda because I can't
You did not.
I can't get into it. So
You can report.
yeah.
I don't want to even hear it.
No.
Okay. That the verbal and written reports of mayor and council be received for information.
I'll move
A second.
All in favor?
in favor.
Public question period. Aaron, anything? Sure.
No. Next time.
And we'll go online to
Terry.
Terry. Any questions? Comments? You're muted, Terry. We can't hear you if you're talking. Okay, we'll move on then to Angela. Anything?
No, I just want to thank you all for your consideration and your support of our 100th anniversary, and I really appreciate how you guys are getting behind our initiatives.
Thanks for bringing it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Anyone?
Most you adjourned.
Yes.
I'll second.
What time is it?
8:05.
Wasn't the last one 10:30?
Yeah.